saying this is true, you would say that the French and the Italians would agree that their referees would help the fencers of the other country and would get payback. And so I remember talking to an American coach and saying, we're having to link up with another country just to get the balance right. That is not happening now because you've got so many different nationalities refereeing.
You certainly do. And just to finish that one off, Mehmet Al-Bakri, who was on here early on, he referees on the circuit senior level. He's just been in India helping develop their referees. I mean, it's incredible. But it's time to turn our attention now to foil. And it's the women's foil finals. We've got all three tonight, just the gold medal matches. And on the piste first, it will be the Category C women's foilists, athletes over the age of 70 years old. And it's an interesting one here. We've got a Russian up against a Finn. Now, that's not necessarily a big surprise, but Nadejda ARSKAYA from Russia actually had to come through Iris Gardini from Italy to make it through. The number 1 seed falling in the semi-finals. And SOMEROJA, well-known and very popular Finnish female foilist, or female fencer. She fences more than one weapon, taking out her Scandic neighbour Kirsten Palm in the semi-final. So it's ARSKAYA against SOMEROJA in this final for the women's Cat C gold medal.
SOMEROJA is amazingly consistent at European Championships and World Championships. Goodness knows how many finals she's won or been silver medalist in. She hardly ever fails, and she's a wonderfully nice person as well, which for a competitive fencer is not always true. And she's probably the most consistent woman fencer in any age group.
Yeah, and also Lisa SOMEROJA does an awful lot of work behind the scenes in the world of fencing, in developing strategies for pushing, not only amongst a number of things, the marketing of the sport.
Incidentally, you've got not only a women's final, you've got a woman referee, a woman video referee. It's a Me Too moment.
Yeah, that's Shaima El Gamal, not just a female referee, an Egyptian female referee, taking control of this one. And it's Amber Siviero. Amber Siviero is actually the assistant here. Oh, you've now put me in a big hole here because this is a difficult name to call out. It's
You've been doing very well. I think your Japanese handling of Japanese names was wonderful. Not that I know if you made a mistake, but
you say them quickly enough. No, I do a little bit of work beforehand. I do try and find out what's going on. But the Thai referee, I think, who's on video, I'm just double checking. I can't see the other assistant. Oh, he's standing behind the pole. So Amber Siviero is the referee who's assisting, but it's Numa Chantasuvanasan from Thailand on the video. But yeah, like you say, good for the development of female refereeing and officiating.
What you will see is, if I can say that the Russian ARSKAYA, it has a certain amplitude of form. And you might think, well, is she really going to be athletic? But she's got the most wonderful, fluid, controlled hand. And you saw there, she kind of walked forward. You think that wasn't very athletic. But her hand was moving 1, 2, 3 through the defences of her opponent. So if people look at her hand, they'll see still a top performer.
And that's how she got through the number 1 seed, the Italian, in the last round, who was much more athletic, much more active on her feet on the piste. But the other thing, the hand is a great thing to mention, but the patience that she's prepared to employ, and that's the big thing. And I've talked about this before, and I want your opinion because I'm interested in this. All levels of fencing are about a combination of some physical attributes and some mental attributes. As you're very young, as young fencers tend to be overly physical and don't think about what they're doing. As you develop, you bring the two in a balance that works for you. But at this level, because of, and I'm allowed to say this, I could fence in the veterans at the European Championship, not quite old enough for the Worlds, but your body doesn't necessarily do even what you think you want to do. So you have to adapt your tactics. So the mental side of fencing becomes much more important at this level.
Yes. Incidentally, I don't know whether people switching in have been a bit puzzled by the referee's hand gestures. But about 10 years ago, the FIE laid down rules, what every referee has to do to say, are you on guard, are you ready, play, all in French. And then how they award a hit, they point to the person hit, raise their other hand to show who's got the hit, and then bring their hands together at the moment when they say play. This is all absolutely regulated, and referees are expected all to do the same thing.
And all four?
Yes.
Do you know why? They
No.
do this? Television. It was all for television because the camera's always behind the referee. And so as you were following on from the conversation we were having earlier on about the complexity of the sport, if there are some very simple hand signals, a point to say the attack starts from this side, there are three options for what can happen to the attack. Either it hits, and there's one signal for that, it misses, and there's another signal for that, or in foil, it's off target. That's it. So the signals become very simple. So television can say to the audience in advance, here are the hand signals you can see. So even if you don't know anything about fencing, you can see that this signal means that's where the attack started, and this signal means whether it hit or not.
Now, things I've noticed about that hit was the Russian has been making the attack of her opponent fail, and then walking forward, doing 1, 2, 3, feint, 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 riposte. And Maria Elisa has realized this, and so she kept her distance and was able to counterattack while the Russian was still winding up.
So we have the shoelace issue coming to the fore here. And
it used to be a ploy. I remember in a World Foil men's final, an Italian says, stop, I must do my shoelace up, and got a yellow card because the referee knew he was time wasting.
Yeah. You see them, I must do my shoelaces up, and the first thing they do is undo them.
Yeah.
It happens still to this day. They got rid of, to some extent, they got rid of the hair issue that we used to have. I'm not just going to say in women's fencing, it happens in some of the men's weapons as well. We absolutely have to have your hair tied up. You're given a little bit of latitude. You have a very physical fight and it drops out. But if you come onto the piece with your hair down as a fencer, immediate yellow card.
Yep.
Try to get rid of these additional ploys, but.
Well, also, if you let your hair go down and it's long enough, it acts as a very good way of getting a good hit, hitting your hair and registering off target.
And that's why they want it all tied up. And it's also a distraction, of course, as well. Someone's hair jumping around all over in front of you. Fencers always find a way, though. They need a little break.
Well, you say that, but at all levels of top sport, at every sport at top level, part of being a top international is you push the rules as far as you can. It's not saying you're cheating. You can be a very civil, courteous, law-abiding athlete, but you want the rules to give you the best possible advantage.
As long as you play within them, you should go as far as you can with them. And fences is a partly cerebral sport. Will push the limit as far as they possibly can.
Oh, that was a lovely attack. Coupe. By coupe, I mean you go above your opponent's blade as a feint rather than underneath.
Well, time running out in the first period, and Richard, as you said, the consistency of the Finnish athlete playing its part here. And I think the other thing about this, and I've noticed, as you would see at the open level and now a junior level as well, there are spies in the camps watching the fights going on. There, the Italians are videoing everything. They're watching absolutely everything that's going on.
I think they called halt too early because there's still 2 seconds.
Yep, have to run down time completely.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah, you have to run down time completely.
Doesn't often happen.
Yeah, whereas even a year and a half, 2 years ago, if fencers backed away from each other with 15 seconds on the clock, the referee would call halt and move on to the next period. Now that must not happen because of the new non-combativity rules. The referee has to play time out even if the fencers aren't standing together, or give a card for non-combativity.
Well, this is partly television as well, that in order that fencing doesn't lose its appeal, lose its Olympic votes, it mustn't have dead periods. And for that reason, if you have 2 fencers cannily trying to work out what the other one will do, if they don't do anything active for a minute, then the referee will say, okay, passivity, we're rushing on to the next phase of the fight.
Yeah, well, the new rules that are being employed, I've seen them actually in play here. The new non-combativity, passivity, it means the same thing. Actually means cards coming out and that they don't move on to the next period. The time continues within the period, but you can only afford to get 3 warnings. Otherwise, that's it, game over.
Yeah.
And it plays a really important part. And it has been a little bit of a test, I have to say, this season, but I sat there at the beginning of watching this, seeing half of the fencing community saying, this is a terrible idea. The other half saying, this is a great idea. Nothing in the middle. And I sat there thinking, I think I'm going to wait and watch this. And you know what? It works.
Yeah,
it's better than it was before.
Yeah. No, fencers will moan and then they'll get used to it and use it.
Well, we start our second and final period. Remember, the target score here for the world title is 10 points. And, right, Lisa SOMEROJA is in the box seat and tactically, well, in the first period, bossed it. Here coming in perhaps a little bit too eagerly there.
I think it was the Russian having a stronger arm and holding the Norwegian's blade and then on release getting her riposte in first. But what's remarkable about SOMEROJA is that she uses really a very different technique at foil and then to the way she fences épée. That's quite tough to do.
Absolutely, specialist at senior level. I don't know whether I could call it senior, but open. I'd like to say open level, because of course a lot of you veterans in inverted commas fencers fence in the open category as well.
Yeah. And you can still be of international level in your 40s, which is why in the European Championships there's a bracket of 40 to 50. But in the World Championships, they said some people in their national teams in their early 40s.
Winning world titles.
Yeah, of course. The poor Hungarian who should have won the last Olympic gold and didn't. He was, what, 42?
Yeah, that was an interesting one. Gabor Bochko? Or was it Gezet Imre? I can't remember which one it was now. But yes, 42 and...
He's 14-12 up.
14-11 up.
14-11 up.
14-11.
And lost 15-14.
By deciding to try and get the winning hit with an attack, which he hadn't done throughout the semi-finals or the whole of the gold medal match.
Russia blood to the head, whoever you are.
But SOMEROJA looking strong. She maybe just started a little bit eagerly at the beginning, playing into ARSKAYA's hands and her sort of slow and patient approach and using her strength, as you said, Richard, but now one away from becoming the world champion. ARSKAYA has got this little sneaky, when the distance closes, she can do this very quick 1-2 action with her hand.
She's got a lovely hand. But what one ought to say, because this is the 70 plus bracket,
it is
that the French champion, Demaille, is not here. She felt it was, I don't know, too much of an effort or something like that.
Well, I have to cut you off there, Richard, because we have a new world champion. Lisa SOMEROJA from Finland is the 2019 Cat C Women's Foil World Champion.
Very well deserved. I thought she fenced beautifully.
Yeah, bossed it from the start, really, in terms of the tactical battle.
But just to say, Demaille at épée and at foil has been multiple champion throughout the age groups and had been world champion back in 1971, so has been top throughout her career. And it's a shame she's absent this year.